You're not one thing. Don't let yourself feel stuck in any part of your life. Fully go into something. Become that tour photographer. Relationships, living situations, cities you live in.
Yeah.
Let your life flow and change.
I'm really bad with change. Like, I don't love it. But then once something does change, I'm like, oh, I needed that.
Cool.
Best change I ever made.
We're on a podcast.
Are we starting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nesrin, hi.
Hey, Debbie.
Hey.
Hey.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Haven't seen you since our photo shoot.
Oh my God, yeah.
Other
For
than
this podcast.
online. Exactly.
Wow.
So for the listeners at home, Nesrin did the wonderful cover photo of the Growing Up pod, where actually, where I'm like covering one eye in it, and someone commented that that's the sign of the Illuminati.
Is it?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you first and foremost, when did you join the Illuminati?
When did you?
2004 when I booked Ned's.
Oh, okay. Well, they haven't reached out to me yet, but I'm sure like now that they know who took the photos.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta have you on their radar because
But
we're
that was
all.
all you. You were the model.
It's true. I did it. Dang, it was my Illuminati. So welcome to the pod. I've been wanting to talk to you on here and just see you online, off Twitter, off Instagram.
I know. I'm real.
You're a real
I do
person.
exist offline, yeah.
Yeah, we almost went to a amazing concert.
And then I had to go to Ohio.
That's okay. Nesrin turned me on to one of my favorite music artists right now, Gus Dapperton.
He's so good.
He's so good.
Yeah.
His latest album, Henge, is like one of my favorite records this year.
Probably same. I'm waiting for my Spotify Wrap to come out because I know that's going to be like at the top.
Henge is going to be all over it for me.
Yeah.
I've been going in on it. That and like James Blake's new one.
Oh, okay. I haven't listened.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice.
It's real good. So thanks for putting me on to some of my favorite music.
You're welcome. Anytime.
On Growing Up, we like to talk about growing up. So I have a very broad question for you.
Okay.
What have been your keys to growing up?
Keys in what sense?
Like the main things that have gotten you through.
Oh, I feel like the number one thing for me, I'm hyper independent. Like I do everything myself. I'm very much like, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a big part of growing up for me, it was just like learning that I'm like, can't rely on anybody, don't want to rely on anybody. It's so nice when other people like help me with stuff or do stuff for me. But like at the end of the day, like you're stuck with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've become like very, like I travel alone, I live alone, I am so comfortable like doing stuff by myself and like spending time with myself. And I think that's a quality that not many people possess, especially like girls my age. Like they're like, oh my God, you like went to Thailand by yourself for 2 weeks? And I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm not gonna wait for someone to like go somewhere with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I'm super independent myself, and I do think it's a quality you have to like hone.
Well, and it's weird when you realize that other people aren't like that.
Yeah.
Like I think I know a lot of people who are, you know, kind of like really comfortable with themselves, but not everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really takes practice. You can get so independent that you're like, wait, do I need anyone?
Oh, no, I'm like depressed frequently. Like when I think too hard about it, I'm like, wait, where are my friends?
Yeah. I think there's a meme out there right now. Like, what is it? Like, I think I healed too much because there's no one around me anymore. Like I've cut everyone out.
Like on accident.
Yeah. I think that's a great key to growing up that a lot of people don't have, and that really takes time and commitment to do, because you will get lonely and you will feel impulses like not to be independent or to want someone or to wait to go on a trip because you don't have like a friend who's willing to go.
Yeah. I think that was a big one for me because like I love traveling and that's just like something I like to do in my spare time.
Same.
And I kept being like, oh my God, like, do you guys want to go here? My friends are like, oh, like, I don't have time. I don't have money. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just going to have fun and I'm going to take a tripod and a remote. And really, why did I even need to bring a friend in the first place?
If you can get the shots.
Yeah,
you're good.
I know. I feel like that's one of my big things though that I've realized like growing up has like pushed me so far like in my personal life, in my career.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah.
Were you independent as like a teenager?
Pretty independent. I have a younger sister. She's 2 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was with her a lot. I was with my family a lot. I had a lot of friends, like middle school, high school and stuff that I would do stuff with. I think it was more like when I went to college and, you have like different class schedules than everybody. And like I was doing photography in my spare time and like not like hanging out with my friends all the time. Like, I don't know. I just kind of took a different path because there were different things I like wanted to do that maybe I couldn't do with everybody or like not everybody else was interested in. So, yeah.
That's huge. Even at like music festivals for me, sometimes people get, or like even like a big concert or whatever, like sometimes people spend the whole time trying to like stay with their friend group and there's actually like a lot of stress around it because everyone wants to do different things and they're trying to make a decision among like 8 people. And I learned like early on, like, oh, I don't like this energy at all. I love you people, but like, why is this so stressful? I want to go see that band, so I'm going to go do that. Bye.
Well, yeah, and there are like certain things I really love doing with like groups of people. And I have a very wide network, like different friend groups, like all over the place, which I really love because it's just friends from like all walks of life who I do different things with. And it's like, not like categories, but kind of, I don't know.
I think we're similar in that way.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, if I want to go to this, like this person would totally go with me and like it would be fun and easy. And I have friends that like I love to travel with because they're super like similar to me and like the way we travel and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, listeners, let's hear from this week's sponsor, Henson Shaving. Are you at home shaving your face, your legs, maybe your chest like me? Here's what's up. We all are probably using crappy little razors that aren't made well, that you have to replace all the time. And the thing is, they're cheap materials, but they're not cheap to buy. For me, I get razor burn, I get nicks. I don't enjoy it. So if you are looking to upgrade your razor game, and even if you're thinking, nah, do I really need that? You do. You do. You need to make the switch because I did, and I'm thrilled with it. Let's hear more about Henson Shaving. Okay, Henson Shaving is a family-owned aerospace parts manufacturer that has made parts for the International Space Station and the Mars rover, and now they're bringing precision engineering to your shaving experience. Razor blades are like diving boards. The longer the board, the more wobble. The more wobble, the more nicks, cuts, and scrapes. A bad shave isn't a blade problem, it's an extension problem. So by using aerospace-grade CNC machines, Henson makes metal razors that extend just 0.0013 inches, which is less than the thickness of a human hair. That means a secure and stable blade with a vibration-free shave. It gets better. The razor has built-in channels to evacuate hair and cream, which makes clogging virtually impossible. Seriously, Henson Shaving wants the best razor, not the best razor business. Do you get the distinction? That means no plastic, no subscriptions, no proprietary blades, and no planned obsolescence. The Henson razor works with standard dual-edge blades to give you that old-school shave with the benefits of new-school tech. Once you own a Henson razor, it's only about $3 to $5 per year to replace the blades. Look at this thing. You can't see it, but it's beautiful and it has an incredible feel to it. Shaving with it is amazing. It's a beautiful engineered razor. And once you have the actual razor, it's only going to cost you $3 to $5 per year to replace the blades. So this is it. This is your razor for life. Instead of having to constantly replace and throw out and get those expensive different head cartridges and all that. Nah, it's time to say no to subscriptions and yes to a razor that'll last you a lifetime. Visit hensonshaving.com/growingup to pick the razor for you and use code GROWINGUP and you'll get 2 years worth of blades free with your razor. Just make sure to add them to your cart. That's 100 free blades when you head to hensonshaving.com/growingup and use code GROWINGUP. That's crazy. Like I'll have this forever now. Wild. Okay, guys, back to our show.
So
those are the real friends, or those are my special friends, the ones I can travel with.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It takes a very specific type of person.
Mm-hmm. We got to be.
You have to be on the exact same wavelength.
We got to be on the same wavelength on specific things.
Yeah.
I'm not going to feel stressed about shit when I travel. Like, I don't get stressed when I travel, even though there's stressful situations.
I don't really either.
Do you know what I mean?
And you know what? Okay, my number one pet peeve, people who can't like navigate an airport.
Thank you.
Get your life together.
Thank you.
What are we doing? It's 2023.
How old are you?
Yeah. Like
get your shit together.
I can't. I'm like weaving and like whipping through the airport and people are like looking around, looking at signs. I can't. And like if that's you, that's totally fine. But like we're not going on a trip together.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also people who like make little things very stressful.
Yeah.
I can't do that because there will come maybe bigger things that like require us to keep our cool. And if you're getting stressed just about like the airport, like that's a simple thing.
Calling an Uber.
Yeah, calling an Uber. Oh my God, I don't know. Is it here? Do I go? It's like, whoa,
I'm like,
baby.
let's chill.
Can
let's
we
have a good
chill?
time. Yeah.
I'm traveling to like enjoy my life,
Yeah.
not to feel like I'm back in LA.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Relax. Where have been your favorite places you've traveled recently? I see you all over the place.
I know. Recently, I went to my friend's wedding in the Cotswolds in England.
That's right.
Which was gorgeous. It's like the English countryside and absolutely stunning. Like best trip ever. I go to Paris a lot now for work. I really love Paris, and now I like have a friend who lives there, and so it's really fun to go and like visit her and hang out with her and stay with her and like do things with a French person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop into the local like experience.
Like, my French is okay, but it's not very good. And so I'm like, I like going places with her because she like knows what's up.
Yeah.
I also went to Jamaica this year, which is really cool.
Cool.
For like some brand work. Yeah.
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 That's dope.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I went to Paris my first time 2 years ago, and I see why people write about it.
People love it.
I see why.
And you know what? It's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I had Parisians in Los Angeles kind of talking shit about Paris. You know, people get jaded about like their own place. Like they're like, yeah, you know, Paris is fine, but like everyone's got attitudes, and they had all this shit to say.
People like don't have attitudes. I don't know where people were getting that.
I experienced not one attitude.
They were so nice.
Not one attitude.
And my French is bad. I do kind of speak French though, so I can understand maybe like a stupid American going in somewhere and people being like annoyed. But like my French is not good. And they were so nice.
I speak no French.
Okay,
and they were still nice.
And so you had a great time.
I had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Everyone was nice. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's great.
It really is inspiring in Paris. I get why like artists have gone there since like forever to go write their books and feel their like, you know, life, like feel the inspiration. I definitely felt that while I was there. I could spend more time there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. You go shoot there?
Yeah, Paris Fashion Week, which is
what's that like?
It's a lot. My first one was last year, and I don't know. I think I just didn't really know what to expect because obviously like New York Fashion Week is like a pretty big deal, but it's also very, at least now, like influencer and social media heavy.
Okay.
Like it's, I would say, more kind of like fun, and it's about the parties. It's a little more chill. I would say it's more like accessible.
Yeah.
Like if you're an influencer and you want to like get started in fashion stuff, you could easily like reach out to PR companies and go to stuff in New York Fashion Week.
Got it.
Paris Fashion Week, I was like, oh my God, this is serious. Like they're so for real right now, and I'm scared.
Got it.
I was like, I'm not cut out to hang out with all these fashion-y people.
Got it.
Yeah.
Paris fashion.
It's a lot.
Next level.
But it's like the biggest designers. It's haute couture.
Sure.
It's like really, really like huge shows. Like the biggest celebrities in the world.
For
all
sure.
the K-pop artists are going to the shows. You
Come
know,
on.
screaming fans, screaming, crying, throwing up outside the shows.
Oh
And I'm
my
like,
God.
oh my God. So I do feel very lucky to have like clients that are like going to that and like booking me to shoot their like pre-show looks and stuff. I had one client who snuck me into the Hermes runway show because she was like, if you just come in, like they won't kick you out. And it was a hassle to get me in. But we were like, no, she's leaving like right after I take her photo. Like we just made something up.
Yep.
And they kind of like let me in and they were like, you better get out. And I was like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
But there's standing room. And so I just stood in the standing room with everybody else. It was incredible. It was like one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Like the production value is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live a life that I watch on social media that I know obviously you're a human with like feelings and like you know, like there's
Thank
like
you.
other layers to your life.
Thank you so much.
But if you just peep Nesrin's Instagram, you're gonna be seeing like all the glory.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Traveling,
And
shooting beautiful people.
I've lived many lives, though. I think is what's interesting. Like I, started out in photography when I was like in college, just like taking pictures of my friends, even in high school, like taking photos of my friends, which slowly evolved into like me shooting shows every night, like after class when I was in college, to going on tour with artists. And that was like my main thing forever. And then I was doing events for like YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And then the pandemic happened, so that all kind of stopped. And now I've kind of rebranded and done like a lot more like celebrity and like portrait and lifestyle. And now I'm doing a lot of events randomly.
Yeah.
which like people are like, are you an event photographer? I was like, not really.
But I'm a
like,
photographer.
Yeah, I'm just like a portrait photographer,
Yeah.
and brands now like want their content to look more elevated. So I end up like shooting events somehow.
Yep.
Which I have fun with, but it's like not at all what I came into photography.
Yeah, and probably not the creatively the most exciting, but
not
socially.
Yeah, not
cool.
always, but also a lot of my clients like let me have fun with it.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Like they just trust my vision.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, just take pics and
Yeah.
like, whatever.
However you want to do it.
Cool. Great.
Yeah, I have a couple friends, including you, who are photographers who kind of everyone's story that I know who does it on the level that you guys do is a little like that. I mean, photography for so many people is a hobby, you know, especially once Instagram was created.
Well, and everyone went through like their photographer phase.
Yes.
Everyone had like a photo Instagram where they were like, yeah, book me for a shoot. And
yeah, I put a filter. I put a filter on a square
photo.
For some
of us, it stuck. Like,
you're like, seriously?
Yeah, I'm like, no, this wasn't a phase. Yeah.
I am this.
Yeah.
I love my friends who have made a career out of photography, though. Like, that's entrepreneurship, and that's like valuing yourself, I find.
Yeah.
Because anyone can take anyone can take not great photos, but anyone can take a photo.
Absolutely.
Not everyone can turn that into like a life and a business and a career.
Yeah.
When did it like become clear to you that you could?
I don't know. I think that's a tough question because like I always liked photography. Like in high school, I was lucky enough to go to a high school that had a film lab. And so I was like in the darkroom all the time, and I was like learning how to shoot film and develop my own negatives and print my own prints with all the like fucking chemicals and stuff. And I was like, I really into like the hands-on part of it.
Yeah.
And then I was on my school's yearbook. And then when I went to college, I like, you know, had like a DSLR camera. So I was just like taking photos of my friends. And I got this idea that I wanted to like shoot concerts.
Yep.
I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot concerts. I'm going to go to everything for free. And I haven't paid for a concert ticket since. So. And
what was the concerts at the time? Was it like Warped? Were you like emo or what was it?
Yeah, no, I was definitely emo.
I pegged that.
Yeah.
I was like, emo.
Some people were emo. Surprised, and I'm like, I don't know how you were surprised.
No, that was.
I was absolutely like a pop punk kid.
Yep, that was my guess.
No, I feel like it was also interesting because when I was in college, there were so many artists like coming up that like now are like huge. Like G-Eazy. I feel like I reference him in every interview, but he was one of the first artists to like really put me on. He was always tagging me in the photos I took of him. He was always like inviting me out to stuff and like really just giving me access that like a lot of other photographers aren't given. And with, you know, people like that, G-Eazy, Hoodie Allen, Mod Sun, like back in the day, they were big, but like not, you know, A-list celebrities, but they would give me access to like everything and like get my name out there and do all this stuff. And I kind of became in Portland like the music photographer, because also when you're living in like a smaller market like that, it's so much easier to get access to stuff. So I was able to like build a portfolio, build a rapport with like tons of artists. Every artist that came through Portland, I was shooting shows like almost every night in college. Like that was all I did for
so rad.
$0. And, you know, so I did like the starving artist thing for a while. I put in my time. But by the time I graduated college, I had tours like lined up for like 2 years.
Dude.
So I finished school early in 2017, immediately went on tours. And that's all I did up until, you know, 2020.
Yeah. Till the
like
world
I was
shut down.
about to start a tour March 12th, 2020.
Wow.
When like everything happened. Yeah.
Do you feel good about the changes because of the pandemic?
I kind of do, just because I think it forced me to like go in a new direction.
Yeah.
And I also think there's kind of a wall that you hit in music photography where it's just like, especially for female photographers, it's a boys club. It's a whole thing. I had pivoted at one point and I was like, I only want to work with female artists. So I was working with a lot of like female pop artists, which was great, but it just like the money isn't amazing.
Right. And there's a ceiling on it.
Yeah. And so I felt like I had done a lot and maybe not reached the point where I wanted to be, but I was like, you know what? Let's see what else is out there. And so I'm enjoying what I'm doing now because I also feel like it's a little more creative.
Yeah.
Like when clients come to me now, they're like, hey, like I'm wearing this crazy designer outfit. I'm getting hair and makeup done. It's at this really sick location, blah, blah, blah. And I get to like make a creative vision, which is so much more, I think, fulfilling to me than like shooting the same show every single night for 3 months straight.
For sure.
Which is what I did for a long time. So it's been fun. It's just been different. And I always appreciate like the people who like stuck with me through like all phases of my career from like Tumblr until like now. It's crazy.
You were a Tumblr.
Oh, yeah, my Tumblr was big. That's how like most people found me on the internet. Yeah, I had like 80,000 followers on Tumblr.
Damn.
Which doesn't sound like a lot now,
No,
but back
on
then,
Tumblr, yeah.
you know that was so
That's
crazy.
a ton. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so I had grown a lot of my following on there, and that's where I just like posted stuff in high school, and I would just like post my photography.
Yeah.
So bad, no edits, like the worst photos ever. And people were like, "This is amazing." And I'm like, "Thanks, guys. Look at me now."
Yeah, I could see you being on Tumblr based on your Twitter. I could see you being popular on Tumblr.
Devin really wants to talk about my Twitter.
Listen, I really do.
I'm breaking the fourth wall right now and looking at the camera because
No,
Devin
that's
really
good.
wants to talk about my Twitter.
Please tell them I do want to talk about your Twitter.
What do you want to talk about?
It's one of my favorite Twitter feeds because it just feels it feels like Tumblr. It feels like Twitter 10 years ago. It feels like
thank you so much.
Just quippy, funny thoughts that I don't really see happening on Twitter anymore. You kept it old school.
You know, I like a joke. I have a great sense of humor.
Let me see if I can just find like one to just give you.
I'm like scared because I don't know what you're gonna.
Well, look, like Nesrin and I did this photo shoot and then became friends, and like I follow all her stuff, and then I would just see her tweets coming out, just like these quippy, felt like 2010s Twitter feed of just silly, irreverent, whatever. I mean this. It doesn't make it. This is a Nesrin tweet from August.
No, I'm really scared.
Just this. It doesn't make any sense that if cars bump into each other a little bit, it's immediately dramatic. They should be able to kiss a little and that should be fine. You see what I'm saying? Like just...
Am I wrong?
Just a bunch of that.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I'm like, Nesrin, you're silly.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitter's always been... I've been on Twitter since 2009.
Yeah.
So scary.
That's like the beginning.
The beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always just like my silly, goofy, like non-professional platform. And it kind of grew into a thing where like I was going viral like once a week at one point. And I like worked with Twitter and like was recognized by their creator team. They like reached out and they were like, "Hey, like we would love to verify you. Like you're so funny." And I was like, "Thank you."
Tell me more.
I was like, "Thank you so much." No, and I worked with them on a bunch of like Twitter campaigns. I had billboards in Times Square. I had one of my tweets on the roof of the Super Bowl at SoFi Stadium.
What?
Yeah. And now I don't tweet anymore because it's X.
I know.
I don't X anymore. Like, I don't even know what that is.
I know.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
I kind of got away from it too.
Yeah.
I actually, when it switched to X, it like made me re-log in and then errored out when I tried to re-log in. And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. I'm out of here.
They took away my blue check and I said, and you know what? I didn't want it anyway. Like,
actually,
you can have it.
I did tweet at you when that happened. It was like, is it less special in here now without our blue checks? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
But am I gonna?
I worked hard for that.
But am I gonna pay for it?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
I've tried Threads and it's not the same vibe.
No.
Like the people on Threads literally think I deserve a Netflix stand-up special. Like they've never heard a joke before. Yeah. They don't understand context or dry humor or sarcasm. And I'm like, I'm so worried about like what you guys are like in real life.
Yeah, you're like, this is my
audience.
This is not my good material.
No. And it's like the people from Instagram. And I'm like, just look at the pictures. Like we don't all need to be on here.
I know. I think we all got on Threads that first week it dropped. We all got on it, you know, for like a couple days.
I was excited, but then I realized it was the wrong type of people on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I know. We just have to ride through these social media changes.
I know.
Yeah, X is kind of dead for me. Instagram's still the main one, and TikTok.
Yeah, I love watching TikTok. I'm not a big...
You don't make them?
Not really. I do when I have to. Not like by choice.
You get forced to?
I just make, enough TikToks to like keep up with it.
To still be out there?
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself a TikToker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't quite popped on TikTok. No TikTok billboards.
No, none.
Okay. Me either.
Someday, one of these days.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a huge part of, I guess if you're a creative professional, like our social media lives are like such an important part of it for both our brands, for our creativity, for our...
And just pivoting to like keep up with whatever trends are going on. Mm-hmm. And it's like, at what point does that like compromise the integrity of like what you're trying to make?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And as a photographer, I'm just like, obviously Instagram is all of our main social platforms.
Yep.
And it's really frustrating when Instagram is like trying to push video and trying to push like all these things. And I'm like, what happened to this app?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've tried to do a million different things.
And none of it's working.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Instagram.
We're looking at you, Instagram. Help us.
Literally.
Help our photographers. Yeah, and also listeners, if you haven't seen Nesrin's photography, you should, because it's really beautiful. I love photography. Yeah. You posted some like old photo like in like this golden light, like in a forest, like with someone recently, and I don't know, it's gorgeous.
Oh, Selena. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like one of my best friends. Yeah.
Cool.
We like always do like fun, creative, like weird shoots. And we shot that during the pandemic.
Cool.
When it was like just us hanging out. And she was like, maybe we should take photos. And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I know. I love those.
Yeah. Do you still love film? Like, do you still love doing it where you have to?
Absolutely. I think film is one of the things that I have just kept fun for myself. I really do not shoot work on film if I can help it.
Right.
Recently, I've had a lot of brands like ask me to do that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God, can you like shoot one of your like friends on film albums for us? And I was like, I mean, a check is a check. I'll do it. But I'm not like a film photographer when it comes to work stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps photography fun for me.
Yeah.
Is like that medium. I take my 35 millimeter like point and shoot around with me, and I take photos of my friends like at parties and, you know, just behind the scenes of our lives and like when we're just hanging out. And it's more like personal and raw, and like the photos aren't always amazing. They're just kind of whatever. And I post them in like dumps called like Black Prince FOF, which is like friends on film.
Yeah.
And yeah, just keeps it fun for me.
Film just gives you a feeling. I love even when the photo's not perfect. Like when it's a little out of focus or something got fucked up, like it gives me more emotion. Like,
absolutely.
You know? And I feel like I'm in a place.
And I like also getting a roll of film developed. Yeah. I think like that's such a fun feeling when I'm like, I don't really even remember what's on this.
Yes.
And you get it back and it's like 36 like really fun photos.
Yeah, for years I've done this thing like if my friends and I only do it occasionally, like if my friends and I go on a trip or do like an Airbnb couple nights in the desert or whatever, like bringing just a Kodak disposable.
Absolutely.
Just bringing a disposable and shooting there, forgetting what's on it.
Yeah.
Having it sit in my room for a couple months.
Way to have memories.
Going like, oh, I should go get this developed.
Yeah.
And then there you go. There's like these photos with such memory and like feeling and emotion in them.
Yeah. Well, and like Friends on Film was also inspired by like growing up, me and my sister always had like, you know, so many family photo albums because our parents would take pictures on film all the time. Yeah. My uncle like worked at Kodak at some point.
Oh, wow.
And so we had just like a bunch of little 35 millimeter cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that my mom and dad like took so many photos. I'm not even kidding. Mountains of photo albums in my house, which is like annoying, but like I'm going to love it someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I started shooting film, I was always taking around disposables. Eventually I got like a 35 millimeter, but I love having, you know, film from like 2012, like, or 2013 when I started college and like all of my college friends and like the shows I started shooting and like artists like way back when. I'm like, oh, that could like be in a photo book someday or something. Yeah. So I feel like it's a nice way to like chronicle life.
It is. And it is different than having it all on digital. Yeah. It is different. Having like 100 film photos from X amount of years is so different than having 30,000 photos on a phone that you don't have anymore.
Am I ever going to look at that again? Like, no. Why are there 86,000 photos on there?
Dude, same.
It's insane.
But am I going to delete them?
No. Never.
No, I'll never delete
simply
them.
get a new phone.
Exactly. I get a new phone. I transfer them.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, film, there's something about it. Like, I actually we have a Ned's, for my Ned's podcast, we have a live show coming up in LA, and I have these photo albums from those years. Like, thank God my parents, you know, took
Again,
photos.
Like, shout out to our parents.
Dude,
because I'm like, I literally wouldn't even know what I looked like back then.
Nope.
I guess you would because you were on a show.
Yeah.
But
it's
like photos of that, it's like so precious.
Yeah, and then organized and put into like photo albums with like little captions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, wow, that's precious. I know.
That was physical Instagram.
I know. And there's something to it, like going through these photos that like I don't have anywhere digitally. I don't know. It means something.
Yeah. You should scan them.
Yeah, I started to, because that's why I was going through them, was I was creating a slideshow for like the live show. And so started to scan some, for at least like a little slideshow.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any advice for like, I think all of us enjoy photography to some degree, but I'm going to say like advice for someone out there who actually feels like
they want to be a photographer.
Yeah, like that calling.
I get that question so much. Like, what do you give to like aspiring photographers?
Yeah.
What I always say is like keep shooting. Yeah. Just because I think I have gone through now so many different chapters of my life with photography where I'm shooting completely different things. But I also am really glad that like I have experience in all these different fields, whether someone asked me to shoot portraits or, you know, a party, a graduation, food photos, a brand campaign, a commercial, a billboard. I can confidently say yes to do like so many different things.
Yeah.
So I think shooting, keeping busy, developing experience, just saying yes to like opportunities that come your way, but also while doing that, like I guess finding out what you enjoy and what you're good at and what your style looks like, because I think also editing is a huge part of it. Lighting is a huge part of it. Like for me, the composition of my photos is like a big thing. Everything is symmetrical. I'm like, I'm not OCD, but apparently I am, because I need to have the subject directly in the center of my photo, or like I won't even look at it. Just stuff like that. And like my editing style is very unique. And I always tell people, I'm like, finding something that makes you stand out from the crowd is like honestly what will push you further in your career.
Yeah.
If your photos look like everybody else's, like it's not going to work out for you.
Truth. Editing's such a huge part. Like I've done
Huge
photo
part.
shoots that I already liked the photos. I was like, oh, these are great. And they're like, no, just wait.
Yeah.
Like just wait till I'm done with them.
Yeah.
And then I get them back and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Like you brought this thing
Well,
to
and I think
life.
it's fun seeing the different editing styles of so many photographers, because I also feel like sometimes I shoot like similar stuff to people, but then I see the way it turns out and I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
For sure. And you can, I mean, the editing software, when I like finally got on, even Lightroom is like kind of basic, but like when I got in there, it doesn't matter how you shot it. You can make it look
like anything.
1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you really do have to find your own taste and like, what is your style? What do you like? What do you gravitate towards?
Yeah. I know. That's what I always tell people.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
good.
Just figure it out and figure out how you can make yourself stand out, and like don't limit yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I also feel like I put myself in a box for so long because I was like, I'm a music photographer and I'm only shooting concerts, which was like fine because I was doing that and I was really enjoying it. But then once I started doing other stuff, I was like, oh my God, I'm not a music photographer anymore. And that was like a weird thing to wrap my head around. But I was like, and what's wrong with that? And that's fine.
Yeah. It was like an identity thing.
It wasn't so much an identity thing. It was just kind of like, that's all I had ever done.
Yeah.
And so to step out of that was so weird and like foreign to me.
Yeah.
That I was like, I don't know why I'm making this such a big deal. Like, girl, what's wrong with you?
Mhm. We must grow as artists,
Exactly.
Nesrin.
Exactly.
We are not just one thing ever. And it's boring to be.
It's so boring.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably one of my keys for growing up. And it's not for everyone, but is like you're not one thing. Don't let yourself feel stuck in any part of your life. Fully go into something, become that identity, become that tour photographer, like do it for a time and know there will come a time when it actually is like right and organic to move beyond that.
Absolutely.
Relationships, living situations, cities you live in, like let your life flow and change. Like that's the magic that I love about it.
100%.
I get bored, you know?
Yeah.
I need that change.
Well, and change is like, I'm really bad with change. Like I don't love it. But then once something does change, I'm like, oh, I needed that. I'm like, that was fine.
You resisted
I'll
it
like
for a
go
minute?
through a little bit of a crisis. Like I don't know. Every time I like move or like something major like happens in my life, I'm like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. But then it's like, nah, I'm fine like 2 days
You
later.
moved recently. Are you going through a
did.
crisis about it?
No, because I needed to move so badly. And that was one thing where I was like, can't wait to get the fuck out of this apartment.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I love my new place. It's great. It's exactly what I was looking for. No complaints.
Cool.
Best change I ever made.
Cool. Do you like living in LA?
What a question.
Mm-hmm.
I do like it. I'm not like an LA hater. However, I've really resisted moving here. Like when I graduated school in Portland, I stayed in Portland. I got my place there and whatever. And I was on tour a lot though. And then when I wasn't on tour, my clients were like flying me out for jobs and stuff. So I was only really ever home for like 2 weeks at a time. Like I was really never home in Portland. But I liked having a home base to come back to that was still like a big city, but it wasn't like LA is.
Yeah.
Like, you know how there is something every night. There's a birthday party. There's a dinner. There's a brand event. There's someone performing somewhere. Like you always have to be at something.
Yeah.
And
or be spending energy saying no to something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And I'm like, oh my God, are they mad at me?
Yeah.
Like whatever. And so it would stress me out. So I would be in LA for maybe like a week, a month.
Yeah.
I would do a ton of work. I would go home.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this. I'm unreachable. Nobody can like ask me to do shit because I'm not there. And so my fear about moving to LA was like, oh my God, it's going to be so crazy. It's so busy. Also, it's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
But I moved here and I was like, you know what? I'm working a lot more. Like the cost evens out. I wasn't as worried about it. And by the time I moved during the pandemic. I moved August 2020.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. No, I had worked in LA for like 6 years before I moved here. I just didn't want to live here.
Yeah.
But I also,
yeah, you're still kind of new.
I loved Portland. Like
Yeah.
I love Oregon so much that I
Portland's a
was like,
vibe.
yeah. And my friends there like are normal. They like
Yes.
have normal jobs, and we would like just like go out to dinner and talk about like normal people's drama and
That
not
is
like
nice.
some influencer getting
Mhm.
canceled. Like I just
That is nice.
it was a step back from this really crazy life I was living,
Yeah.
and I loved having that. Which now nothing is real. LA's not a real place.
It's not.
It's not. It doesn't make any sense.
No, we live in, I mean, it's fantasy land. I like it because I'm here like dreaming up my life, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I got tons of friends and all
Oh,
that
I'm
stuff.
having a blast. But me and my friend Chesko, we refer to LA as a circus tent.
Yes.
And we're like, yeah, it's a circus tent, no door.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck in there
can't-
and you're either one of the little clowns driving around or you're just watching the show. And and we just laugh and have a good time.
It's pretty true.
Yeah.
Like-
but all my friends are here, all my work is here. So I didn't like hate the move. I'm not one of
Sure.
those people who's like, I'm trying to get out.
Yeah.
I like it. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
silly.
Yeah, I love it, but I get the balance of anytime I go somewhere else, I do feel I take like deeper breaths. Like I'm like, oh, that's what relaxing
And
is.
people are living like real lives.
yeah.
No, it's crazy.
That's what I take. That's what relaxes me. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't feel the anxiety
yeah.
of 6 million people like trying.
Yeah.
You know
I'm
what
like,
I mean?
Oh my God, a smoothie here's only like $8.
Ooh, stop
That's
it.
crazy.
Stop it. Gas
like-
is only $3.
I'm like on my Erewhon $22 smoothie shit. And
Sheesh.
I went to Cincinnati to visit my sister recently.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this smoothie was like $6.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. So it's a sobering realization.
Yeah, even Europe. I was in Europe this
Oh.
summer, and like as expensive as
In-
Paris is,
It's not that bad though.
you can go to a cafe in the morning, get a coffee, a baguette, a sandwich, and it's like €9
Yeah,
for the whole
your whole
thing.
breakfast. And everyone walks everywhere.
I know.
That was the other thing I missed about Portland, because in Portland, everyone walks everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like a big city, but it's small
It's
enough
small,
that it's
yeah.
like compact. And I moved to LA and I was like, oh my God, I'm in the car all day.
Yeah, I'll drive
Oh.
half a mile.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll drive down. I'll drive.
And it's unfortunate because that half a mile you couldn't even walk if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It's like a freeway.
Yeah, exactly. I'd have to cross some danger zone. I know LA has its pros and cons, but I
It does.
like it. I'm here for
We're here for
everything
what it
I'm here
is.
to do.
We're here for what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything I'm here to do is here. So maybe at some point I'll go to a ranch somewhere. I don't know.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Oh, I would love to be off the grid someday.
Yeah, someday.
I
But
think I think that's everybody's dream though.
yeah, do you have that too? I definitely have that. I think we all have that like escape button dream life that's separate from our life. You
I don't know if fully off the grid is ever my dream. Like I would like to go off the grid for like a year or two. But like every time I go to like when I was in the Cotswolds in England, I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, would love to just live in a little cottage in the UK somewhere.
Yeah.
Or like when I was in Scotland, I'm like, I could have these long-haired cows and just hang out in
Yeah.
the mountains and never see another person again.
But then you do it for a year. and
I
you'd be
do it for like a
I'm
year
bored.
or two. No, I think I'll move back to Portland sometime.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know when, but yeah.
How do you find the dating scene in LA?
Bad? Question mark? Not amazing.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
you know, we're all on Raya,
yeah.
paying $20 a month to not have a boyfriend. So, yeah.
Damn. I never got on Raya.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like I'm probably missing some dates.
You're not missing much anymore. I think it
Okay.
was really good a couple years ago. I went on some great dates and like met, you know, some awesome guys on there. It's just like nothing ever really pans out into a relationship, but it's like it's fun.
I mean, I
But
think that's the story of LA.
It went from $3.99 a month to $19.99 a month, and I want to have a chat with whoever's decision that was.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. That's
expensive.
exactly what I said too. It's crazy.
That's expensive.
So
But
other
it's-
than that,
but it's
no.
exclusive.
But I'm also not about to get on like Tinder. I'm like, they're gonna murder me. So Raya it is, I guess.
That's what you think? You think Tinder, they're going to murder you?
Yeah, Tinder and Hinge, I'm convinced. Like, you know how Wendy Williams is always like, the killer? Okay, you haven't seen it?
No.
Never mind. That's like a niche TikTok reference. But I watch a lot of true crime, and I'm always convinced someone's trying to kill me.
I don't think they're trying to kill you on Tinder and Hinge. I just think you're going to have to like wade through a lot of...
Yeah, you got to dig a lot harder.
You got to dig deep.
Dig deep.
On Tinder and Hinge.
Yeah, no, it's not amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I also don't have a lot of time for dating. I honestly,
Neither.
I don't put it on the fucking front of my mind. Like it's really on the back burner, very far back there.
I know.
So,
dude, I'm like you. Like, I'm really independent. My independence is chosen. I think it's a strength. I enjoy it. I love my alone time. I'm super busy with what I'm creating.
Yeah.
But then, you know, the loneliness will hit and I'm like,
absolutely.
I need to date.
Like once every 3 months, I'm like, all my friends are moving in with their boyfriends. What's going on?
I would like someone to look at me and say, hi, you're a human being in this world and you look nice and smell nice and I want to see you, right? But then I really don't have a lot of time. And then I'm that guy in LA. Like, LA is the story, I think, of situationships.
100%.
It's like we all have too much shit going on.
And every guy I date, it's like, oh, what's going on? Never mind, nothing. Never mind, nothing. Surprise, it's nothing. So I think so many of those, like back to back, I'm just like, again, it's not on the front of my mind. I love my life. I love my friends. I love my career. And why would I let a man ruin that?
Yeah, I was curious because I hear a lot of, I only have my man side of dating in LA.
The man side.
I hear a lot of, I'm just curious, like how it is for, I don't know, people our age in LA. I hear a lot from the woman side that like, it's fucking awful.
Yeah, I think it's also tough because a lot of the girls I know are so cool and interesting and career driven and hot.
Yeah.
And I think that's really intimidating and emasculating to a lot of men. Well, because if you're a guy in LA and maybe like you're struggling and stuff isn't going super well for you, seeing this girl with like her shit together and like killing it can be tough because I know so many like amazing girls who have a really hard time dating. And I don't know what it is. I think it's also like a generational thing.
Yeah, I think we're in a weird our generation
weird.
Is
the pandemic threw something off. No, I think it did, genuinely.
I think we were already thrown off. I think our generation, like naturally, I think we've all watched a lot of divorces. I think we watch a lot of relationships stay together but be awful and toxic. I think we've seen a lot of evidence that like makes us kind of question that normal path of like meet someone, settle down, make it work. You know, all that stuff. I know a lot of us in our generation kind of are questioning those things, but then it leads us to these weird, like, ambiguous dating spaces.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. And part of it just is LA, is like we have too many options, all of us, guys and girls. Like there's too many options of what to do on any given night, with who, what friend group, where. Oh, she looks good, he looks good, he looks good. Like,
well, I think that's why no one is trying to settle down.
Exactly.
It's like, especially guys that I date and I'm in like situationships with, it's always kind of iffy because they're like, oh, like what if another girl just pops out from behind a bush and I like her better? And it's like, she's not coming. like I don't know what to tell you. She's not here.
There's no bush.
Yeah.
And she's not in it.
Thank you. Exactly. But I think everyone likes to keep their options open. It's a very big, like, what if type of thing.
I think that is a part of it.
Yeah. It's weird vibes.
Yeah. I'm guilty of it sometimes too. I feel like in the least toxic way I can be. I'm very like open with my communication with people, but not necessarily like keep my options open because you're not good enough, but just like, I feel like these days I need to get to know someone for like a long time before I'm going to start.
Same.
Before I'm going to start like changing my boundaries, priorities.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and if I'm not like obsessed with you, what's the point?
I agree.
Literally, what's the point?
I agree.
Like, sometimes I like people and I'm like, oh, that was fun. Like, we had a good time. But like, are we doing it again? I don't think so.
I
like,
agree.
I don't really have time for like the wishy-washy, like, maybe I'll start to like him one of these days. I won't. You know?
I'm not.
And I know myself. And
You think you know really fast if it's gonna swing that way or not?
Yeah. Like once I meet someone, I will either be obsessed with them or I'm like, this was so fun. Thank you so much. I'll text you.
Yeah, it's strange times out here for our generation and dating. especially if you got like a bunch of shit going on.
Yeah.
Like I have a bunch mentally, creatively,
and that's the other thing, like
schedule.
taking time out of your day to like go out with someone, and then it's like, ugh, not that great, but like I already put some time into this. Do I like keep doing it? Do I just kind of cut it off? Like it's a lot.
It is a lot.
I don't know. I'm a career focused person, and I feel like a lot of people in LA are.
I know.
And that's what makes it tough too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like somewhere, my hope is, my hope is like somewhere along, I don't know, these days I'm really kind of clear on my path and like what I'm growing and where I want it to take me and where I want things to go. I feel like somewhere on this clarity of my career, I'll like look over, I hope, and just in the flow of doing what I need to do for that, it'll be like, oh, hey.
That's so ideal.
You know?
Yeah. No, that's great.
Like, hey, you also are, hey, cool.
Yeah.
We should.
I think that's a good way to put it too. Because I'm
Right?
like, I meet so many people through work and through like other things where I'm like, I know there are people that I'll probably meet that I'm like, oh, like maybe this could work out. And it's just we'll figure it out when we get there.
Yeah.
Cross that bridge when we
We'll
come to
cross it when we get to it. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do need to kind of be not obsessed, but a little obsessed.
A little obsessed.
I need the feeling to be like, yo.
Yeah, because it has to like I have to like actively like want to like keep talking to them, keep hanging out with them. And I'm like, honestly, a lot of people, I don't have the energy for that.
I know. Because you got a lot of friends, you got a lot, like there's
I
so
don't have
much
the
when you're
mental
full and
bandwidth.
independent already. I know.
Yeah, for like another person. Oh my God.
Yeah,
If I
they
have to
better
tell
be
someone
the shit.
my favorite color one more time, like I'm gonna freak out. Like,
Favorite color? Is
You know-
that still being asked?
but you know
Are
when
you
you have to-
12?
you know when you have to like tell your entire life story to somebody?
Yes.
And you have to like learn everything about you?
Yes,
I'm like,
yes,
I can't,
yes.
I don't have any more of those left in me.
Yeah. No, I have really actually tried to not go down those conventional, boring ass paths on like first dates and like
I feel like it's kind of necessary though, because if I don't know anything about your backstory, what are we?
no, of course.
I don't know you.
Some part of it's necessary, but it also gets like, here, like, where are you from? What's your?
But it's like, what am I supposed to do? Not ask you where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just never know.
Ask me something better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's other ways to get to know someone than like, tell me about yourself. I find I can learn more about someone. Of course, at some point, those questions need to be asked, but like, I find someone telling me who they are is not the right information. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay.
I need to see how our interactions are. What happens when I
Yeah.
throw like a little shade at you as a joke? Like, how do you respond to that? That's more important information to me than you being like, my favorite color is yellow. And
Okay, but like, I need to know what someone's favorite color is.
do you?
Actually, no. I
Are
don't
you
even
in
have a favorite
elementary
color.
school?
I don't think I have a favorite color.
That's what I'm saying. We're adults. You got a favorite? Like, if someone asked me, I'm going to say blue. But do I really? I love colors.
I don't think I have one. Probably black.
Wow.
Yeah,
See, there you go. Emo, pop punk.
I know. It just
I
goes
knew
with
it.
everything.
I fucking knew it. I knew it. Black's not a color, dude.
Okay.
I guess it is. I that question I will not answer on if I'm getting to know someone.
I love that.
I will. I'll say
Stick by that.
I'll say favorite color. Ask me something better. Like right now. That is not relevant to anything.
Yeah.
I'm not in 5th grade anymore.
I know. The getting to know people phase is tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
Are you a big texter?
Yes and no. I'm in a bunch of like group chats with my friends.
That's what's
we
up.
keep it busy. We're
them
talking shit
memes
about
busy.
people all day long. Yeah, gossip. It's just the best. Other than that, no. I'm like, FaceTime me
There you
or
go.
send me an email.
Okay, good.
I'm like a big introvert. I really love to just sit in my house and like do nothing and
Me
like
too, dude.
not text people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's the other mistake I see so many people make is trying to get to know someone through text.
I know.
You can't.
Yeah. And I feel like that's also so not like middle school, but you know, like back in the day, like right when like
AIM?
AIM, yeah, or like Facebook chat or like whatever was big, and everyone was just using that. Now I'm like, okay, just call me on the phone.
Yeah.
So I can like do the dishes while we have this conversation.
Yeah.
Like-
and so I can actually like hear what's happening
Yeah.
in
I
your
think the
world.
only time I'll like really text someone is like if it's a very like, I don't know, serious conversation that I'm having with like someone who's not in LA. I'm like, oh my God, I'm like catching up with like my friends in New York or something. Or if it's like a guy I'm really obsessed with,
Yeah.
I'll text him.
You're like, favorite color, favorite color, favorite color.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I'll just like act like he's funny.
Wow.
They love that.
Wow. We do love it.
Yeah.
We do love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being told I'm funny, it's everything.
Huge.
Everything. I don't need to hear anything else. Just like, oh my God, you're so funny. I'm like, stop it. Well, great, dude. I'm really glad I got to see you off social media.
I know. Same.
Yeah.
We should do this more
We should do this more often.
Yeah.
I'll see you in a fucking year.
Yeah. Next year, I'll come back on the pod and that'll be the next.
Perfect. It'll be the next time I see you. It'll be fantastic. I'd like to leave our audience with a little piece of advice. You've already dropped some photography and key to growing up, but just what comes to mind? I feel like our audience listens to these episodes just looking for a little like comfort through wherever they're at in their journey. You know, I think it's nice to hear like that the and the joys of growing up can be had in like a normal conversation. So that's kind of our audience is out there just like wanting to feel a little comforted on their growing up journey. So what piece of advice do you have?
I don't know. I feel like the what did I wish I knew when I was younger type of thing is like, I think there are so many things that like, you know, you just realize in like small bits throughout your life. I think piggybacking off of like my first one where I like talked about like being independent and like self-sufficient and like learning to like do stuff yourself and rely on yourself and trust yourself. I think learning that it's like okay to outgrow things like people, places, relationships, all of that. Like if you have a friend breakup, maybe it's not the end of the world. If you get fired, you'll get another, like you'll be fine. Like you'll literally be fine. And I think in the moment that's really tough because you're like, oh my God, like my life is over. This huge thing is happening to me. But you have to like learn to kind of just take a step back, take a deep breath, be sad about it, go through it, and it'll be fine. I don't know. I think that's one of my biggest things because I always have like big anxieties over like moments like that. And then I'm like, a couple days later, I'm like, oh,
I'm fine.
That was okay. Yeah, I'll figure it out. But also, yeah, just like everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't always see it in the moment.
Exactly.
You got to feel those feelings.
Exactly.
But
yeah, I just feel like I've had so many things in my life, whether it's like friend breakups or like clients I've lost or like, you know, making poor like business decisions where I'm like, fuck, like I fucked up or like this is really bad or like whatever. And it's like from where I'm sitting now, I really don't even remember what half of those things were. So it happens for a reason. It'll be fine. It'll probably be better.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think even the way you phrase that, I don't think we've had it said on this pod like that, but it's
I was going to say, has someone ever said that? Because I feel like that's a niche or like a general one.
No, it's actually very on our theme to say like it's okay to part of growing up is outgrowing things.
Absolutely.
Like I don't think we've ever phrased it that way on this pod. So nice. I love that. Yes, it's okay. Not only okay, it's necessary to outgrow times in your life, identities of yourself, friends, jobs, like just times. I don't know. Everything always feels like it's going to be forever. And I guess the older we get, the more you realize you go through enough cycles of change that you go like, oh no, everything is not forever.
Yeah.
I will be someone new in a couple years.
Well, and it's so weird too when you're like, I don't know, 18 or whatever. And you're like, yeah, by 25, I'm going to be this, and this. And you're 25 and you're like, what was all that? What's going on?
None of those things.
None of those things. But like, you might be just something different, which is like better or fine or, you know, whatever.
That's also my big difficult one with dating is my life, especially in a creative industry, especially in LA, my life changes so fucking often. My priorities, what I'm working on, my mental state, like, it's dynamic. Like a job comes in and I'm gone for a month. Like, life is changing so rapidly. So I think in a lot of like normal lives, people that live normal lives, you can find someone, get to know who they are and kind of count on certain aspects of life staying the same. So you just go like, cool, let's be together. I gotta know someone can grow and change with me or that our balance still fits through all of my changes or shit like that. You know, it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep figuring it out.
Are we?
Yeah. I'll keep getting into situationships and you'll keep being independent.
And there we go. We're vibing.
Vibing. It's great. Guys, go follow Nesrin on all the things at Black Prince.
Yeah.
On Insta.
On Instagram, I told you I don't really tweet anymore.
Yeah, Twitter,
which is a bummer.
Over. Yeah.
But also Black Prince on there.
Yeah, that's where it's at. Go check out her photography. It's really some beautiful stuff, and we'll shoot again at some point and make me look pretty. You know?
We'll do another round of like press photos for this.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, I need some golden golden light, some
Exactly.
pretty edits, you know? I want to feel like one of your French girls.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Nesrin.
Thank you.